Council will now call to order a hearing on the conditional use application filed by Horsham Water and Sewer Authority on behalf of John and Mary Ann Coleman for the property located at 28 Meeting House Road. The application seeks approval to permit construction of a connection to the public water system that will pass through the waterway in front of the house and cross the riparian corridor. Notice of tonight's hearing on the application was published as required by law, and it would be appropriate at this point for Mr. G'day Walker to enter into the record those documents relating to the filing of the application and the public notice of the application itself. Bill.
Thank you, President McCouch. So our township exhibits are as follows. T1 is the application and attachments. T2 is the plan submitted with the conditional use application.
Are you close enough?
T3 is the letter from the Navy to property owners. It's showing the level of contamination in the private well. T4 is resolution 2023-09, setting a time and date for the public hearing. T5 is the letter from the Township Manager to the Horsham Township Planning Commission dated February 6, 2023. T6 is the letter from the Township Manager to all property owners within 500 feet, notifying them of the hearing. That letter is dated February 6, 2023. T7 is the legal notice. T8 is the proof of publication of the legal notice in the newspaper. T9 is the Gilmore and Associates review of the conditional use dated February 21st, 2023. T10 is the land planner Van Rieker's review of the conditional use dated February 22nd, 2023. T11 is the Gilmore review of landscape issues dated February 22nd, 2023. T12 is the Montgomery County Planning Commission review of the conditional use application, and T13 is the Horsham Township Planning Commission minutes reflecting review of the conditional use application.
Bill? If any person present this evening would like party status in this matter, it is necessary to let us know now. Party status can be granted if you live close enough to the property to be aggrieved by the use proposed. Persons with party status may cross-examine the applicant's witnesses and may present witnesses of their own. Only a party may appeal the decision of council in this matter. So if you do not request party status, you will still have an opportunity to express your opinion and tell council whether you would like to see the application granted or denied. Is there anyone present that would like party status? Doesn't look like it. I'll take this opportunity to remind you that tonight's hearing is being transcribed by a court reporter. Therefore, it is necessary that you not speak unless recognized by counsel. If you do speak, please give your name and address prior to making any comments so that the record attributes your marks properly. I see that Tina O'Rourke is present this evening on behalf of the Water and Sewer Authority. Tina, would you like to be sworn in and present your case?
Please state your full name.
Tina Marie O'Rourke.
Spell it, please.
Tina, M for middle initial, O'Rourke, O-R-O-U-R-K-E.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, fire away. Button. There you go.
We good? Okay. I have such a big mouth, I usually don't need So, as council is aware, this is probably the second or third time we've been before you for a conditional use. This has to do with water connection with support of the MIRIA funding. We are actively connecting residential properties throughout the township that have private wells that were impacted by PFAS contamination. So this is the case with 28 Meeting House. 28 Meeting House is located about 1,400 feet southwest of County Line. It's on the west side of Meeting House. So there is a stream crossing the full width of this property. The authority's existing water main is in Meeting House Road. Therefore, in order to provide a connection from the water main to this home, it is necessary to cross the stream and zones 1 and 2 of the riparian corridor. Work will be done via horizontal drilling, as was recommended by the Planning Commission, to minimize impacts to trees and the riparian corridor itself. We also have an application pending with DEP for a general permit, utility line stream crossing, and we have awarded a contract for the connection of 81 homes, one of which is 28 Meeting House Road. As with all authority contracts, we will have our standard punch list provisions and a 2-year maintenance period for any maintenance, for any restoration that may need to be done. And so that's everything I have.
When would you think this project could be started? If you get all your approvals.
We're experiencing supply chain issues. So it was expected that we would start this month, but that's been, again, delayed. And April, May, maybe, if we're lucky. Now, this particular property, I'm not sure where that will fit in with the schedule because we do have 81 homes to connect.
Okay, so you're not sure which one will go?
Right. We have certain ones that are kind of first on the schedule because there's some road paving that's going to be done, so we want to get in there before that. So we try to do the connections by area. I think we have 4 connections on Meeting House under this contract.
Bill, do you have any questions? Anybody else up here?
Any questions? Mary, anything?
No, you've answered. The only question I had was whether you're going through both Zone 1 and Zone 2, and you are.
Okay, so now this hearing is closed. Council will have rendered a decision within 45 days of today. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty, let's call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, everyone. First item on the agenda is announcing an award from the Pennsylvania Department of Education to our library. Bill?
So council knows our staff and librarians are pretty amazing at the library. They always are thinking and always being creative. So they applied for a grant for a program called Story Walk, and I can't do justice to it, so I'm just going to read what Regina, our director of library, sent me about the program. So Horsham Township Library received the state library's Story Walk grant. The project funded is to create an outdoor walk-through story on the library's front path. Story walks were created as a way to combine literacy with bringing families outdoors for physical activity. Residents will physically follow the story page to page along the walkway, stopping every 6 or so feet to read the next page. To create this, the library will disassemble what are known as children's big books, laminate the pages, and mount them on yard signs in story sequence. With the grant funds, they will be able to buy enough books to have a new story out front for each week of the summer reading, encouraging families to walk through each one to earn a summer reading prize. The location of the walk also has added bonus of drawing attention to our new programming patio by having each book start or end at the patio. So it's pretty, they're always thinking down there, all age levels, and their creativity always amazes me. And as you know, we're very proud of the staff down there. So here's another brand new program. And
Awesome. Very good. I think it'll be great for the kids and in general, and it's just, like you said, it shows how great the library is and why they get the awards they get. So, good stuff. Next is an opportunity for questions or comments. Anybody? Nothing. Approval of minutes. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Treasurer's report.
The balance in the general fund as of February 28th, 2023 is $4,812,674.36. For the most part, both the receipts and the expenditures in the general fund reflect normal activity for February. As of the end of the month, we have received 39.42% of the budgeted revenue and have expended 15.27% of budgeted expenses. We continue to monitor our earned income tax and local services tax revenues, which have been affected by the pandemic, companies downsizing, and companies allowing employees to work from home. For a more detailed presentation of our current financial position, I would refer you to your monthly booklet.
We got 3 checks.
I move to ratify a check in the COVID relief fund in the amount of $10,000.00 and further move to approve payment of same. I move to approve the list of checks and all funds in the amount of $472,325.68 and further move to authorize payment of the same. And I further move to ratify the U.S. Bank credit card transactions for the month of February 2023 in the amount of $7,779.96.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next was a subdivision plan, which we're going to table, Bill.
Yes, sir. They do not have their signed agreement to accept conditions to us this evening, so they're looking to get on your March 27th agenda.
Get a motion for that, right?
You usually do, just to avoid
Why do you want
voice
to just
vote.
table that?
I move to table the subdivision and land development plan for 901 Horsham Road.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is authorizing the solicitation for bids for our pickleball courts.
As council knows, the pickleball courts it's 4 courts. They will be added to the 4 courts that we already have behind the community center, and that's about it.
We already talked about this, so do we have a motion?
Move to authorize a solicitation of bids for the construction of 4 pickleball courts and further authorize advertisement of the same.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is a bid for the Whitmer Road Basin retrofit.
We've been trying to retrofit this basin for a little over a year. As council knows, we went out to bid last year. The bids came in the lowest bidder came in $100,000 over budget, so you rejected all the bids. Staff and township engineer rebid the project. This time we had 8 bids come in, and good news is we have the lowest bidder, which is within budget, $244,763. We are going with base bid only. There was an alternate bid that was included, but we are only taking and considering the base bid, which staff is recommending James R. Kenny Excavating and Paving Incorporated, and as the base bid is $244,763.
You have a motion?
I move to award the base bid for the Whitmer Road Basin retrofit.
Bid to James R. Kenny Excavating and Paving, Inc. in the amount of $244,763, and hereby authorize execution of the contract for same.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Let's see, we have a subdivision land development plan for RCM the 7th LLC.
Yes, sir. This is on County Line Road. You have seen this with the zoning hearing board application. They did receive the variances that they need for the project. They have been in front of the Township Planning Commission and received preliminary approval from the Planning Commission, and they are in front of you this evening for their review of their land development plan.
Okay, you're up.
Good evening. I'm Ed Murphy. To my right is Justin Gennatti, the project engineer. We're here on behalf of the applicant to discuss the status of the land development plan for the several warehouses with frontage on County Line Road. You guys know that the project has been ongoing for almost a year and a half. It was first started with an initial staff meeting back in December of 2021. We've had multiple staff meetings. This will be our 3rd appearance in front of this body. First 2 took place last spring and early summer before our zoning hearing board application, which we presented back in June of last year and got relief in July of last year. Most recently, we, as the manager indicated, we met a month ago with your planning commission. Your planning commission did recommend approval unanimously of the preliminary land development plan. 2 or 3 days before that planning commission meeting, we became aware that there had been a request by staff to implement a potential, a condition of your zoning hearing board decision that authorized the staff, if they chose, to request a berm along the County Line Road frontage of the property, and as the Gilmore letter suggested, providing that berm would probably trigger, in all likelihood, correctly, a revision to the stormwater management plan. So we had a couple days to react to that between February 3rd, when the review letter was issued, and February 7th, when we had the planning commission meeting. That's why the planning commission only felt comfortable recommending preliminary, because we hadn't had a chance to react and engineer the suggested revisions to the plan. In the past month, Justin has done those things, revised the plan, provided the berm, which we're going to show you, revised the stormwater management plan to incorporate the berm, which I believe Gilmore is comfortable with. So we're here tonight to not only review those with you, but also show you the 3D elevations that have been requested as well of what the building may look like, recognizing the introduction of the 9-foot high berm along the property frontage. So in terms of review letters, the comments are all will complies. There are a handful of waivers that Planning Commission did completely and unanimously endorse. So they're really, other than going over the elevations and the new information since the Planning Commission meeting, I think we're probably in good shape. And staff knows that we would, for those reasons, ask that the council consider the grant not just a preliminary approval, but also final. So I think with that as background, perhaps Justin can review the materials, and if council wants, we can go through the waivers before anything else.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So the renderings in front of you tonight on the screen are largely the same layout that we presented back in June before our zoning hearing board. The building sizes, the general layout of the site has not changed. It's been further engineered, obviously, through the land development process. Most recently, and as Ed already alluded to, there was a change within the last month to add a landscape berm along the County Line Road frontage, which will further buffer the view from County Line Road. That came up in the February 3rd review letter from Gilmore and Associates. We reacted, said it will comply, but then we went through this month and further engineered that. Just to orient everybody, obviously County Line Road runs along the bottom of the plan. Titus Avenue comes in right here at the bottom, which we are aligning our main driveway with. That is going to be a signalized intersection. The signal is going to be installed, obviously, by the developer. County Line Road being improved as part of the County Line Road improvements. As part of the developer's burden of County Line Road, there's going to be a center turn lane, which is going to extend the improvements, which are already proposed along the large part of County Line Road. It actually came to an hourglass in front of our site. They were not providing that center turn lane. We are going to be constructing that center turn lane, so you get 3 full lanes all the way through this stretch of County Line Road. But you'll see that the layout is the same. You got the parking in the front of the facility, the truck court largely shielded from view from County Line Road, located between the two buildings, and then again then parking again in the back of the one facility. The driveway has been reconfigured to be a right-in, right-out at the request of PennDOT and some of your traffic engineering comments. We're providing sidewalk along the County Line Road frontage. There was a request that we extend sidewalk down along this pump station property to allow access to the Warrington, the shopping center there, which we are doing. And one thing I want to mention is that through the course since the zoning and through the first round of land development, there was a number of conversations with both the township engineer and the landscape architect pertaining to the landscaping installed in the plan, how the buffering is going to be oriented, where we're planting trees, what amount of trees. The plan that you see in front of you tonight, and the plan that's been reviewed as part of the last submission, has been approved largely by the landscape architect for the plantings that you see from a buffering standpoint, placement, and everything else. Just to get through one more point, so the landscaping berm that were installed here did affect the above-ground basin that was located in the front of the facility. We have resubmitted engineered drawings and calculations which show that it was a non-issue for us to comply with that berm. We still have the same capacity, same performance of that basin, so we were able to accomplish the request of that, the berm and basin revisions with the last revision. So, Mr. Walker, if you want to flip through, I'll maybe just give everyone a... So this is a new perspective sitting at the intersection of County Line Road looking at our building. You'll see this is the berm that runs along the whole frontage. The berm's going to be planted with a variety of evergreen trees, arborvitaes, Leland cypress, these thick buffering plants, and some deciduous trees to add some variation. There's going to be additional plantings along the front of the parking lot, which will screen that from view from headlights coming off this.
That's a 9-foot berm, you said?
No, that's going to be a 4 to 5 foot berm.
4 to 5
along the whole frontage. It's about 4 to 5 feet in height. And then you can see largely screened from view, but that's where the basin is with the along the back of the berm there. And then if you flip through, it kind of walks you through the site. This is as you're traveling towards the Edge Fitness and Warrington Shopping Center as you go along County Line Road. You see the berm, plantings, and then the parking area screened from view pretty much with the berm and the elevation difference from County Line Road up to the top of the berm and then the parking beyond.
Justin, just to clarify the height of the berm, earlier when you were talking earlier, you said 9 foot.
Mr. Murphy said 9 feet. The berm is, the berm is 4 to 5 feet along the whole, 4 to 5 feet in height along the entire frontage.
What's 9 feet?
Nothing.
Okay. I like Mr. Murphy's presentation.
We talked about 9 feet. I know we talked about 9 feet somewhere along.
9 feet was the other self-storage application.
Justin can only be allowed on one project at a
Yes.
time from now on.
Yeah. We were asked to install a berm along the front. I don't think we ever committed to a height, and what we did is we provided the maximum height that we could provide, with the plantings being on top of it, and then within that area. So
Why is it the maximum height you can provide?
just with the topography of just tying in the County Line Road, and then with the sidewalk along the frontage of the road, and then getting back down to the parking lot elevation. So basically, for every 1 foot of berm height, you need about 3 feet on either side. So you need about 6 feet of linear distance because of a 3-to-1 slope. So we provided the maximum that we could provide along that frontage.
Justin, if we would give you a waiver from 2-to-1 slope, could you make it higher?
Yes. So we could make it higher.
I don't know where I got the 9 feet, if you want to know the truth.
Sounded good.
I'd like to blame you, but maybe you didn't tell me.
I never said no.
Eric, what are you referring to? A waiver for?
So they didn't ask for a waiver from how steep the slope up of that berm is. So
Right.
what Justin was saying, for every foot you go higher, our ordinance requires you go 3 feet in length. It's easier to maintain and mow. We've given these waivers in the past where you go up at 2-to-1 instead of 3-to-1, so he could make the berm taller to further screen the building. If they'd have to ask for a waiver, I'd probably support that waiver so that you get more screening.
We could do that.
And that's good for us. If you want to consider that additional waiver, we'll do it.
So at that rate, the berm could probably be in the range of 6 to 7 feet in height versus the 4 to 5, which it is now. So, and then a lot of the trees that we picked, just to give everyone a little bit, the Leland cypress, the green giant arborvitaes, some of them grow 3 to 4 feet a year, and they get into the heights about 40 feet. So the staggering and the variation of those trees on top of the berm with the perspective of County Line Road sitting a little bit lower, that berm has the perspective of being closer to 6 to 7 feet as it is. So any additional height would just be a benefit.
So you'll write up an additional waiver, Mary? You got that?
Yes.
And again, this is just walking down or driving down County Line Road, looking at the building, looking at the berm. All the plantings that you see are accurate to what's being proposed on the landscape plan. That's not just illustration, but they are the plantings being proposed. Looking back towards, this is the tightest intersection that's signalized there, so you can see that's accurate with the topography of the road. You can see the berm, the plantings, and then even at 4 to 5 feet, you can see that it basically does screen all the trucks, all the vehicles that are parked in that front parking lot. And this is the right in, right out intersection at the far end, looking down, and you can see that there's the berm. We turn the berm around the corner, so as you're driving along, that driveway isn't a gap. It actually screens the building with the berm. And again, if we get another 2 feet on that, it will improve the same thing. But same look, just 2 feet higher. And again, this is looking all the way down. There's the right in, right out intersection. We continue that landscaping on the other side of the intersection as well, so that you have this continuous screen pretty much as you're driving along County Line Road looking towards the building. This is the very back corner of the site, so you'll see over here, this is the air base on the corner. This is just showing that along your park there, we provided a fully screened, the existing vegetation staying. We provided a landscaping buffer along that entire stretch as well, just to supplement some of those deciduous trees with some evergreens at the request of the Planning Commission, some of the staff meetings. And again, that's just an overview of the layout. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, but that's really the biggest thing from the Planning Commission was they just wanted to see what that berm would look like and what how that basin would work. So the basin works fine. It's the perspective of the berm. And again, if we get the variant or we get the relief, the waiver for the 2-to-1 slopes, we can steepen that berm.
There's what, 15, 16 other waivers?
16 waivers plus the new one now.
Plus the new, which Mary's going to, she already put that together, right, Mayor?
I don't have that
wrote
section
that.
number, but I know it's in there.
Well, Eric and I will figure out the section number.
So what we generally do is go over each one
Sure.
at a time, make sure everybody's okay. Sure. First one is to file separate applications for preliminary and final.
That's correct. So our plans are to final plan standards, so we just ask for consideration for a preliminary final plan if possible.
Okay, so in that one, the Planning Commission only gave you preliminary, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I think, generally speaking, if that's the way it works with the Planning Commission, we don't try to do what they do. If they want to come back and do the final, then we'll have to wait. So we'll give you preliminary, like we can work a preliminary, but we'd have to come back for final. Sorry, but that we don't like to trump our commissions.
So the only reason they gave us the preliminary was due to the 3 days prior getting the request for the berm.
We've never trumped their decision, so we don't want to start.
Understood.
now.
I was just trying to put that clarity in there. There was
Yeah,
really,
I know.
there was
and
no,
it seems simple.
it does.
But unfortunately, we'd like to go through the process, so. It is what it is, sorry. So that one's a no.
Okay, but I just don't know, what are we going to accomplish by doing
Right.
it?
I'm sorry?
I'm just not sure the value of taking up planning commission time in a subsequent meeting and another meeting with you guys to talk about.
Well, because they have, their commission is there to do
Yeah, I
certain
know.
things, and if they say one thing, and then you come to us and we say, well, it's okay, don't worry about it, we got it covered. It really doesn't play out very well. So I'd like to just go back and let them look at it again, make sure they're good with everything. You got an additional waiver anyway that they'll probably be happy with.
Right.
Not going to delay things that long, maybe a month.
Okay.
Number 2.
This is a plan preparation standard, typical. Your ordinance requires 1 to 50 or 1 to 100. Obviously, the size of this property commands a little bit different
Okay with
scales.
that one? Yep, good to go. Number 3.
Number 3 and 4 are related. This refers to the stopping distance required behind the right-of-way and the exceedance of 4%. And then the next one's maximum 5% grade for non-residential driveways. Because we're tying into the county line road improvements, there needs to be additional grade to get to grade, but it's all going to be permanent by PennDOT. So
Eric, you're good with those, right?
Are those 2 waivers?
Number 5 requires a minimum of 20 feet of open space between the curb line of any parking area and the outside wall of any principal building. Ask for this one a lot here. This is really just for ADA standards for parking being up against the building. And I always say if it's rooted in fire safety, these buildings are fully sprinkled.
Everybody okay with that?
Minimum parking stall dimension of 10 by 20. We're asking for a 9 by 18, which is permitted in the zoning ordinance at your discretion. So this allows for minimizing overall impervious, and it's only when there's sufficient car overhang.
We generally give that one, right? Everybody okay?
That's correct. Your saldo contradicts your zoning ordinance, so you guys typically give this waiver.
Yeah, especially when it's not a retail use. But this is obviously for the cars only.
For the cars,
Not the
correct.
trucks, right.
And then number 7 relates to a variance that we actually received for the loading stalls. This is just for the truck loading stalls. Your ordinance requires 14 foot on center. We go 13 is the ordinance standard. Trucks are 8.5 feet wide, or 8 to 8.5 feet wide, so 13 is more than sufficient. So again, matches the variance we received.
Very good. Okay.
8 and 9 are really technical, related to the minimum drop in pipe inverts and then outlet pipes for manholes and inlets. Is for a 2-inch drop through manholes and inlet structures. Due to the length of some of these runs, 2 inches over multiple inlets is significant with our outfall, so we're just asking for relief from not doing that.
Eric?
We have no objection. You guys have given that waiver in the past.
Same with number 9, it's related. This is a minimum of 1 foot of freeboard between the inlet grate and design flow elevation and storm sewers. Again, due to the modeling some on these underground basins, we're not able to provide the 1 foot freeboard, but based on the way they're modeled, there's really a lot of conservative design measures in place.
Again, we have no objection to this waiver.
Okay.
Number 10, basin outlet pipes be reinforced concrete pipe having O-rings. We're just asking to use HDP push pipe, which is really the new construction standard.
Eric, that's your.
And yet again, we have no objection.
Number 11.
Number 11, softening buffers to contain a minimum of 4 shade trees and 8 shrubs for every 100 linear feet of buffer. This is really just for placement, and again, this came up. So this is where the transcontinental pipeline is, plus a 25-foot wide sewer easement. So you have about 85 feet of unusable space within that area, so we're not able to plant right on the property line, which you're required. We are meeting the plant quantity, but it's pushed into the site, so it's really a location over a quantity.
Everybody good with that? Okay.
Green space, this is related to the other one. Green space areas be provided between parking areas and buildings. Goes hand in hand with the 20-foot spacing off of the building. So for to the extent that we can, we do, but some of them we're not able to provide that landscaping.
Everybody okay? Okay.
Ordinance requires any row of more than 15 parking spaces be broken up by an island of at least 15 foot in width. We're requesting a waiver to go to 10 feet in width, which allows for 2 5-foot radiuses, radii. This was presented to the zoning hearing board to minimize impervious and all, too.
Good. Okay. Everybody good?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That was 10 feet.
That was
in width?
that was
No, I know where
13.
we are, but the waiver that you're
10.
requesting, the letter just says less than 15 feet. Is there a,
It says 10.
So we are requesting a partial waiver from the section to permit internal islands to be 10 feet wide.
gotcha.
Yeah, your waiver request letter doesn't specifically
Yeah, it
say
doesn't
you're
say
asking
10
for
on
10,
here,
so
yeah.
she's just clarifying so
Okay.
that in the resolution, it'll say that it's 10 feet, not 9 feet, not 8 feet. Unless
Eric,
we have an older
You might have an
version
older
of
one.
this.
Which does yours last revised February 7th?
Mine was.
Very weird.
I got January 13th. No, February 7th, right?
Yeah, mine says 10 feet.
This one doesn't.
Might not be a bad
Ours
idea
does
to
not.
get me a copy of that.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know how that happened there. I apologize for that.
Okay, number 14.
Number 14, a minimum of 10% parking areas be devoted to landscaping. This goes with our impervious variance, obviously, that we're permitting internal landscaping to be 5.6%, and we're planning around the perimeter of the trees. So this was discussed with the landscape architect as well.
Very good? Okay.
Number 15, minimum distance between a proposed basin discharge and a point downstream of a property line be a minimum of 50 feet. We have several level spreaders along the property that are within 50 feet. Again, it's a level spreader, it's not a point discharge, so we're just asking for relief to that distance.
We have no objection.
And last but not least, number 16,
Next to last. Got a new one.
next to last, stormwater facilities to drain both their volume and rate control capacity that are appeared in not less than 24 but not more than 72 hours. We are requesting a waiver from this one since a portion of our storm discharges in less than 24 hours. It's de minimis, but for a smaller storm event, due to the fact that it's an infiltration basin. So just to the extent that we need it, that's a de minimis variance, a waiver we're requesting.
He's correct. We have no objection to that, too.
And Eric, what's the section of the last one for the slope variance, or the waiver we're going to get?
I'll get that for you.
Yeah,
All right.
I didn't look it up yet,
Well,
but
that's the last
We were
one.
okay with that one.
Right.
Justin, how close is the level spreader to the property line?
I do not have this. I can get it for you and send it to you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, so that's it for waivers. So, Bill, what's the next step? Back to the planning commission, I guess?
They go back to the planning commission next month for final review, final approval, and then they can be in front of you next month. You only have, they could be in front of your April 12th. You only have one meeting in April. So they could be in
Let's
front of
not delay
April
it, let's get
12th
April 12th on that.
for your final review, and then the first meeting in May for your consideration, the resolution for consideration.
Are we doing preliminary at the March 27th meeting?
Yes. And then the April planning commission would be final review and
Well done.
approval.
You don't have
And then
to.
April 12th, you would be final review, and then your
Why
first.
waste your time on March 27th? We're going to do it April 12th and do preliminary final. Right?
No,
No, it's gotta go back.
you would be April 27th. You'd be reviewed by council on April whatever.
Right, so that they would authorize you to prepare the approval resolution, which would be adopted 2 weeks later.
At the
In
end of
April.
April, right.
Right. So what's the value in us coming March 27th?
It's your value. Sometimes people want preliminary approval to go to their bank or whatever they need to do.
I want preliminary final tonight,
You
and I'm
mentioned
not going to
that,
get it,
Ed.
so
It's not happening,
I think
so.
they got it.
I got it. Okay.
All right, so you do not want preliminary approval. You'll wait until the end of April and get final approval at once.
We don't have a fourth Monday meeting in April.
Oh, that's right, it's the Pennsylvania Association of Township Officials.
But
It's the second
we would-
Wednesday of May.
Right, but we still would have the comfort of having direction given on April 12th to the solicitor to prepare the approval resolution on April 12th for whenever it would be adopted thereafter at the next available meeting, right?
Correct.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
So,
Oh, you have a question, Sean?
Yeah, when you guys were with planning, you guys talked about the left turn lane alterations on the northbound side of 611. Can you guys talk to us about that?
Sure.
Thanks.
Want to jump up?
this is Sandy Koza from McMahon.
Hi. I think I was here before when we were doing zoning.
You were.
Yep. So let me find that so I can find my. So that's one of the improvements that we're proposing, to take out the existing median out there. And then it's going to be extended so that we have an additional 85 feet of storage behind there. So there's an existing median, so when the County Line Road project closes down part of that left turn lane, that's when that lane is going to be extended at that same time. So you're looking at an additional 85 feet for that northbound left turn lane.
Is they removing the island from that?
They're still going to leave about 4 feet of the island there because we still have to match it to the existing, because there's an existing 4-foot island on that approach.
Is there any way you guys could get rid of that island? Because that's one of our choke points in the township. And how long's a vehicle, a semi with trailer?
I think it depends.
67.
67 sometimes?
That's what we're concerned about. That left lane is going to get eaten up very quickly by these trucks, severely impeding the left lane through lane on 611.
I don't know if you could pull up there's an aerial here, or if you have our study where the HOP plans had the plan for that on it. I don't know if you have them. I have a flash drive if you don't have them.
Let's see, overall site plan. Let's see if this maybe. No, that's not gonna.
No, that's not going to.
It's not going to be on the site plan because it was an off-site improvement.
Yeah.
But I think we can't get rid of that median 100% because there's a driveway that's on that one corner, And PennDOT wants that driveway, I think, to remain right in, right out, which is what it is today. So we have to leave like the 4-foot median there, and we're taking out as much of that median as we possibly can. Like the whole thing is being reduced in width. And then there's going to be striping where it ties into the 4-foot median that's staying there
How
today.
long is that left-hand turn lane now? Round numbers.
It's probably about 200
And you're
feet.
adding another 85.
5, yeah.
So in perspective, that's not a lot when you consider getting 2 trucks and the normal amount of cars in there.
So you're saying you're limited because of that Wawa just below the Google watermark on the center of that bottom center, if you like scroll down a little bit, southbound.
Yeah, like there's another left turn going in the other direction on Easton Road there. So yeah, we're moving that median. There's an existing 4-foot section.
Yep.
That's going to be extended the whole way back. So that little teardrop at the end goes away.
Okay. So you guys are maximizing how much you can provide?
Yes, that's the maximum that we can provide, because then you're back to back with the other left turn. If you scroll up on the screen, it'll show, yeah.
All right, yeah,
So
thank
we're
you.
kind of limited.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I think we're good to go.
Bill, when do we go to the planning commission on the final?
It's the first Tuesday of April.
Okay, so it's a month from now. And then we'll meet with council thereafter in April.
April
But
12th.
And then the final written resolution would be adopted probably the first meeting in May
second
if you don't
Wednesday
meet the second
in
meeting
May.
in April.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
No, but thank you.
I know,
No,
sorry.
Thank you.
thanks.
Guys have a great night. All right, without there being any further items on the agenda, this meeting's adjourned.